Hi, it's Sienna. I'm here again, and we're going to talk about the aces and faces and the suits today. So, I want to bring your attention back to the tarot cheat sheet, as I said, as I called it before. And down here on the corner, let's see if that camera's going to pick up this little square here. No, of course it's not. What we're going to do is do a screen share instead. Let's do that. So, screen share. Now, what we're looking at here are, of course, the kings and queens and prince and princesses. You'll see here that the Crowley deck and the Rider Waite deck have a little bit of difference going on. The Crowley has knight, queen, prince, princess. The Rider has knight, queen, king, page. And we will see that there's quite a bit of difference of these two here. So let's start though with the ones that we know are going to line up really well. So we're going to start with the queens. Now what we want to do with this four square rubric, understand that each of the suits, wand, cup, sword, and disc, also um, are affiliated with fire, water, earth, and air. And also, what that translates into human behavior is fire is equal to action or motion. Water usually signifies emotion, love, sadness. Um, Air is known as thought, thinking, and brain activity. Earth is about stability and being rooted and grounded in reality. So the four suits line up with the tarot, kind of. Now, I want to take you back to lesson one. Let's stop this screen share for just a second. I want to take you back to lesson one when we talked about the origins of the tarot and how the Mamluk deck wasn't, yeah, it was the Mamluk deck had the four suits, right? And those four suits were for playing cards. It was a game they were playing. When the tarot became a significant occult issue, when it became of spiritual significance, we've decided to kind of stuff it into the earth, air, fire, water routine and not really, it wasn't endemic to the deck. So when you're asking the affiliations of earth, air, fire, and water to cups and swords and wands and discs, anything goes. Okay. There's some traditional stuff because it feels right. It seems right. It goes click in the human psyche. But to be honest, if it does something different for you, don't let some tarot purists tell you that you're wrong because you're not, because nobody is actually right. It wasn't invented to stuff into this format. We just did it because it worked. Okay. So we're going to get back to the screen share because this does come up again, especially when we're talking about the knights and the pages. Okay. So let's go through this. Um, let's talk about the queens though, because we know that the queens are water and water is emotion. Now, what do we mean though? What happens when we have like the queen of air, the queen of swords, or the queen of fire, or the queen of discs? Well, let's take a look at that. Come on, page. There we go. So these are queens, right? And they are all water based personality types. So I'm going to bring them in a little closer. These are the Crowley Queens. And then if we go over here, we can see the Rider Waite Queens. And what I like about the Queens is that they really are expressive in both decks. You can see the Queen of Earth here, the Queen of Pentacles. She seems really super grounded, right? She is looking down. She knows the earth is her, where she gets her emotions from, or what she cares the most about, I should say. And then, whoops, let's do that. Well, will you stop doing that, you think? All right. So we have the Queen of Wands over here and the Queen of, what are we looking at here? the Queen of Wands over here. And she does look like she's ready to get up out of her chair and do something. Oh, come on. Let's not do that. So you get an idea of what these queens are about. Now, when you have this 4 squares here, remember, it's a combination of the 2 elements. So the Queen of Air is a combination of water, emotion, and thought. Okay. So when we look at the kings, we only have kings in the Rider-Waite. We don't have kings in the Crowley. So is the king earth, or is the king air or wands? No, this is the big debate in tarot. Remember when I said that we just took the existing 4 suits and stuffed the earth, air, fire, water rubric on top of it. So it could be either way, right? We could be swapping the prince and the king for fire and air. Now, here's why I say this. Let's take a look at these. Those are the queens again. Let's take a look at these guys. You see, these fellows are all on horseback here. And these fellows are all on thrones. And if you look here, we don't have a king on both sides. The prince and the king are supposed to be equivalent. What is going on with these horses? Well, check it out. Here's their knight in the Rider-Waite. Here's your knight of discs in the Crowley deck. Excellent. Knights line up. Look at that. Horse, horse. They look very similar. Excuse me, King of Pentacles does not equal Prince of Discs. These two look very, very different, with the exception of this big disc right here. But this fella is on a chariot being pulled by a bull. And this guy's on a throne. A king and a prince really are not equal. So do what you will with that. But it is the big tarot debate, which is air and which is fire. So moving on down the line, here we have our knights, right, with our princes, if we want to go there. And again, when you add prince of, we'll say our princes are air here. When you add the air with the fire in the Prince of Wands, you get somebody who is ready to move on their emotions. And then the final bit here, let's take a look at the pages and the princesses. You know, one of my favorite tarot images is this Princess of Wands. And what I like about her is that she's got this tiger by the tail and she's swinging it around. And nobody's going to tell her she can't do that. Because, well, she is fire and earth. Yeah, it's pretty much accepted that the page and princesses are earth. And the queens are water. So now that you have this information of the suits being the same as earth, air, fire, and water, the kings and the queens and the faces, what I want to talk to you about now is the aces. Now you have aces in all the decks. You have Ace of Wands, an Ace of Cups, an Ace of Swords, and an Ace of Pentacles. And it's really good to know that they are earth, air, fire, and water, because your aces are the essence of those elements. So when you have the Ace of Pentacles, you're really talking about the earthiest, one of the earthiest cards in the deck. The 10 of Pentacles is the other very earthy card on the deck. So when the aces come up, you want to look at the basic underlying foundation of swords, or the underlying foundation of cups, and whatever the suit is. Okay, so now you take your face cards and your aces and you put them all together and you go find your major arcana and you begin to shuffle them all together now. You're still not playing with a full deck. However, you're playing with more than you had before. And if you do some more of those 4-card layouts, I will be cutting another video on a 6-card layout after this. If you use the small layouts with part of your deck, do some real readings. Read on people across the internet, read on your dogs and cats, read on the people across the hall, read on the people next door. The fact is that you don't really need the feedback from them yet. Okay. All you're doing right now is learning your deck. Well, we'll talk about feedback after you know your cards. In the meantime, stay tuned for the next video, which will be the 6-card layout. All right. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.